So next up, podcast listeners, Donald Trump, former President Donald Trump, SHREDS, the teachers union at CPAC. So Trump made his first appearance in public at CPAC, and CPAC was held in Florida because typically it's held at National Harbor in the state of Maryland, which is right outside of Washington, D.C. But because Maryland is closed, including Maryland's schools, they're not completely open, not even close to it. Maryland's private schools, by the way, are open, but their public schools are closed. And because so many other things are closed and there are COVID restrictions in Maryland, CPAC relocated to Florida. So Maryland lost all of that income from the thousands and thousands of people that would normally be coming there. You can imagine, right? Well, nonetheless, that's where CPAC is held. Donald Trump makes his first show at CPAC. And we have a couple of clips on this, and they're quite good because Trump really frames the current problem in the United States with the teachers unions. And he is so right on, and it demonstrates a very clear difference between former President Donald Trump and how he would govern and the way the country is currently being governed by Joe Biden, where they are completely in bed with the teachers unions. And we have the first clip at CPAC with Donald Trump, and here it is.
Their callous indifference to working families is equally clear when it comes to the critical matter of getting America's children back to school. And they must get back and get back right now. Right now. Crazy. Terrible. Terrible. The Biden administration is actually bragging about the classroom education they are providing to migrant children on the border, while at the same time, millions of American children are having their futures destroyed by Joe Biden's anti-science school closures. Think of it.
Did you catch that, by the way? Did you catch that last part? So we have all of these migrants and illegals coming across the border in the United States because Joe Biden and the Democrat Party, they don't believe in borders, okay? We know that. They don't believe in American exceptionalism. And they also don't believe in protecting the American people from many of these individuals who are crossing the border who may not mean us well or certainly want to drain resources, and they have no intention, not all people, by the way, but some of them, right? Just want to be clear about that. But we know the Democrat Party, they don't believe in borders. So Joe Biden has found, his administration has found, that there are so many unaccompanied minors, that means minors that are showing up at the border, children, without their parents. Why? I have no idea. I really don't. I don't have a clue as to why there are so many children showing up without their parents. But I suppose that's a strategy, right, of getting your children into the United States and using chain migration to pull yourself in later. And it's wrong, of course. And it's without question, the cartels are involved in this. But the Biden administration has decided that the children who are the minors and they're unaccompanied should receive in-class education. They should be educated while they're waiting to be processed and released into the United States. They're being educated, and so many students across the country aren't. Joe Biden is in bed with the teachers union to keep American students out of the classroom. He won't let them go back. They're suffering, the American students are, and he's putting illegal aliens first. That's the Democrat Party. Put illegal aliens first. Put them ahead of the American people. That's exactly what they believe. It's exactly what they do. And I got to tell you something, if you aren't outraged about this, no matter what you think about Donald Trump, whether you like him, hate him, don't want him to run again, do want him to run again, didn't like his mannerisms and his, and the way he spoke to people, he nonetheless is the only person that's actually talking about this, really, and has the megaphone to talk about it. And yet the American people aren't being told this on the national news. Of course not. Because you're not going to really see this information reported at all, except for maybe just two or three actual news channels. So we have the second part of Donald Trump's speech to the teachers, to CPAC, about the teachers union. And he really calls them out. And there's nothing better than hearing Donald Trump call out the teachers union at a place like CPAC, which was, of course, absolutely and positively oversubscribed. And he's there because this is really the issue of our time. And we know this. We've talked about this many times, and I'm so glad it happened in Florida. Here's that clip.
They deserve, there's no reason whatsoever why the vast majority of young Americans should not be back in school immediately. The only reason that most parents do not have that choice is because Joe Biden sold out America's children to the teachers' unions. His position is morally inexcusable, you know that. Joe Biden has shamefully betrayed America's youth, and he is cruelly keeping our children locked in their homes. No reason for it whatsoever. They want to get out.
Of course he is. Because if you are a Democrat in modern America, you don't believe in school choice. That is, you don't believe in educational freedom, the idea that you can send your children to any school that you want to, public, private, or charter, and then use your education dollars that are collected by government and spend them as you want to. And the Democrat Party, of course, doesn't want that to happen because the teachers union doesn't want competition. But there is competition in Florida, and Florida is flourishing. It's absolutely flourishing, which is why so many people from the Mid-Atlantic states and the Northeast are moving to Florida. That's why so many people from the state of Illinois are moving to Florida and elsewhere. We know that for a fact. And of course, Californians are moving to Nevada, and they're moving to Texas, and they're moving to Arizona. It's happening all across the country. And we also see articles like this in the Daily Wire. Matt Walsh says, kids are struggling to focus during online school. Now they're being diagnosed with ADHD. It's just cruel. I just can't imagine in modern America today being a Democrat and saying to yourself, oh yeah, I'm a proud Democrat. I love the idea that we're keeping the schools closed because we need to keep children safe. It's just nonsense at this particular point in time. And if you look at the data, it is not supported by keeping schools closed, especially since the private schools have been open since last September. And they're completely open, utterly. They're doing sports in private schools. So get this. If you want to ever hear an idea of why the teachers unions are so proud, not proud, actually is, if you ever want to hear an idea why the teachers unions are so out of control and so powerful, that's the word, powerful. Get this. A Maryland teacher's aide in Montgomery County, Maryland, was seen masturbating during a Zoom lesson with 8th graders. He was suspended, but not fired. So here's the article. The teacher is claiming that he was accidentally pleasuring himself. He admitted that he was doing it, and he still wasn't fired. And of course, it's on Zoom in front of his 8th graders. And it's an actual degradation of our educational system. So here's what it says. A teacher's aide in Maryland was pleasuring himself, I'm going to use that term instead, during a Zoom call with 8th graders, but insists he thought the online lesson had ended. Mark Shack, an assistant for special education students at Shady Grove Middle School in Gaithersburg, told the Bethesda magazine, which is in Montgomery County, Maryland, he told them that he was unaware his self-love session had been captured on the virtual call until being interviewed. Imagine that. So you didn't know that your self-love session was being taped on Zoom until someone calls you up and says, guess what? We've got a problem. Houston, there's a problem. The 21-year employee from Montgomery County Public Schools, who also runs Pirate Magic, a business that throws pirate parties for youngsters, while he portrays a character named Captain Sillybones. The Montgomery County school teacher said he has since been placed on administrative leave, but he's not been fired. So if you ever want to know how powerful the teachers unions are, if you ever want to know truly how powerful they are, some states obviously are more powerful than others. But the states where you have no educational freedom and no school choice are the states where teachers unions are the strongest. And here's an example and most disgusting example of the teachers union protecting a pedophile, okay? A pedophile. And he's still employed with the system. And I'm sure they'll find another job for him somewhere within the system. Maybe he'll even be teaching again in a school near you, as long as there are teachers unions. And that is Trump shreds the teachers union.